Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm happy to be with you today. Here we are, the beginning of the second week in May. Yeah, it's hard to believe that time moves so fast as it actually does, but it just seems strange. Pretty soon, we'll be at mid-year. That's amazing. So let's start. I want to share with you for this week a few words from Hebrews chapters 11 and 10. Hebrews is a great book, has an awful lot of good stuff in it. And today I want to begin with verse 19 out of chapter 10. Here's what it says. So, dear brothers and sisters, we can boldly enter heaven's most holy place because of the blood of Jesus. By his death, Jesus opened a new and life-giving way through the curtain into the most holy place. And since we have a great high priest who rules over God's house, let us go into the presence of God with sincere hearts, fully trusting him. Well, this passage is talking about the temple that sat in Jerusalem for many years. And part of the temple's design included the holiest of holies. This was a section where the Ark of the Covenant was kept and the copies of the Ten Commandments were kept. This was believed to be where God's presence regularly sat. And according to the rules in Leviticus, the high priest could go into the holiest of holies one time a year. And that time was the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. And that was the day when the high priest went in and spread the blood that had been sacrificed outside for the sins of Israel. Now, after Jesus died, the scriptures record that the curtain that surrounded the holiest of holies was torn from top to bottom as a symbol that God's presence was more available now after the death of Jesus than ever before. So that's the context of what this passage is talking about. So it says again, let us boldly enter heaven's most holy place. Well, to go into the most holy place, you better have a little bit of fear. Because if in fact this is where the complete presence of God exists, then everything in the scriptures makes it clear nothing but perfectness can enter into God's presence. And I think you and I both know we're not perfect. And as much as we might try, we're not going to be. So you and I are in the same category here, whether you're walking with God on a regular basis, whether you're hardly walking with him, or whether you're just angry at him and curse him. We're not perfect. But it says here that we can go into that because of the blood of Jesus. By his death, it says, he made a new and a way to get past this curtain into God's presence. You see what that's saying here? It's saying that as good as you are, as hard as you try, as many credits as you have on your spiritual resume, you still can't get into God's presence on your own. You need something else. And that something else, expressed here and in many other places, was the atoning death of Jesus, who made the way for you and for me to now come into the presence of God. Now, that would be a great story if that's all it was. that now we could come into God's presence. I mean, geez, that's pretty good compared to the past. In fact, it's fantastic compared to the past. And maybe you don't see that as something really special or something that, ought to be celebrated that much, but some of you probably do. And I would encourage all of those of you who are listening to me and haven't really found the joy of walking with God that you give it a try. I mean, what have you got to lose anyway? So in any case, it goes on to say, and this is what is so important. And since we have this high priest, since Jesus did this, it's assuming what the first part of the verses said. Now, what's the consequence of that? Well, since we have that, here it comes. Let us go right into the presence of God with sincere hearts, fully trusting Him. You see, I don't know where you are in your spiritual life, and I don't know what your day looks like. This might be a great day for you. It might be kind of a blah type of a day, and it might be something in between. In fact, it might even be a horrible day. Lots of people have those, and I've had some, and they're certainly no fun. But wherever you are, because the curtain has been torn, because Jesus made the sacrifice, now it says we can boldly go into God's presence. We don't have to come in afraid. We don't have to approach God with a sense of, golly, I'm not really worth anything. Now what do I do? We can boldly go in, announce our presence, and trust Him. Fully trusting Him, it says. Now think about it this way. When you were a little kid, I know for some of us that's a long time ago. When you were a little kid and you went into your dad's house or your house, did you ever go in wondering if you belonged there? Did you go in thinking, gosh, I better be careful because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm in the house. You just took off and ran into the place, at least most of the time. Why? Because you had full trust and confidence that you belong there. This passage is telling us that we have full trust and confidence that we can boldly come before God and trust Him. And I hope that those words will ring in your heart, not just now, but in the days ahead. You can boldly come into God's presence. That'll change everything. And I hope you'll find out just how much it changes things. Will you think about it? I'll be back tomorrow and this week to share some more from these two chapters. If you have a need or a concern, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Thanks so much for listening. God bless you. I'll be back tomorrow.